We do have a quorum, Commissioner Griffin and Commissioner Kukowski and myself. Commissioner Moore told me that he would be here later, but could not be here on time. Okay, let's have the invocation. Our Heavenly Father, we ask that you lead us, guide us. We ask you to give us your wisdom to make decisions for our organization, and if they have a positive impact on our community. We ask that you bless each of our members and protect our emergency responders. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Would anyone who is not on the board, a citizen would like to speak? Being no response, we'll go ahead and move to item A, the approval of the minutes from the January 23rd, 2024 meeting.
Those are on your, you have a copy on the last page of your agenda there.
Yeah.
Real simple.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from last month.
I'll second that.
There's being a motion and a second to accept these minutes. Anyone have any comment? Then we'll proceed for vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
We'll sign that one, and our secretary is,
Me,
okay.
slash Sherry.
Okay. You want to, you don't have to give your autograph as well, that would be the official copy.
That concludes the consent agenda. Moving on to new business. Item A is reports, discussion and possible action regarding findings from the safety conference in Galveston. I think we all learned a lot. I did. In some of it, I got clarification on things that I thought I knew and didn't probably know as well as I thought I had. I'm open to any discussion anyone has.
I first want to recognize Mary,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate you stepping forward and telling us about the conference, and got us all to get in on it. It really, I didn't think that, interested, and then once we got there and everything, it really paid off well. So thank you, Mary. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We probably wouldn't have known about this had it not.
We would not. I guarantee you would not.
And it was a very positive thing for us to go to. I was also very proud that our board had the turnout we did. And we had 4 of the 5 members there. And I thought that was extremely good for a young board to get started. Some of the things that I mentioned, was interested in, and while it was boring, in a sense, that first day on the taxes, I really didn't realize that there was that huge a paper load on how to do all that and the mathematics of it. And Jim asked some questions of the attorney, and I spoke to him afterwards a little bit. And it's going to be something we going to have to keep our eye on and go from there. One of the other ones that I got my eyes open with was the one they did on change and how to deal with change and make it fair and equitable to everybody, because we are going to be making some changes, and we need to realize the impact and the consideration we need to pay to everyone involved in it. And then there were several things on planning that I thought were good.
I was really impressed with that, a couple of team things that I saw. The group AGCN that does the build project that Buck, you and I went to. Now one man is out of Wimberley. The company, they're like a project coordinator, and they oversee a lot of things in the project that I know that they're doing. For one here at County, they're doing their fire station, and it's coming along very well, on time, on budget. We had a testimonial from a lady in the group there. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. She told us that they built 3 stations in the past couple of years. The first station they built, they had a guy that was a professional engineer. He watched it from day one all the way through, it went fine. The second one, he had to drop out. They struggled with it, they got behind, they called his company, they stepped in and got them through it. And the third one, they hired this company exclusive to do it. And they saved so much money, they were able to get a radio package for their district. And then, so there's a lot of money saved there. They get down into things like, when to test for concrete, when to take the test. They have a person there on site all the time to do that. So I was really impressed. Really impressed.
It's a process, especially to start from ground up. Everything's a process to build it.
Yeah.
From dirt work, soil samples, concrete samples, the building itself. And basically, a lot of it's in the drawings. It's in the architect where you can delete or add, and where you can save cost, which was very informative that they knew what we could do, what we couldn't do. So it was very good.
Correct.
That company, government capital, excellent company. Man, talked to all 3 of those guys over there. I know Buck has experience with them. I guess City of Poe does with their meters. I'm trying to think, it's off the top of my head right now, who's the other company I know that used them, that said they're really, really good. And well, I know ESD 2 used them.
Use them
For that building up there.
Those 1, 2, and 3 have used them.
How they use
A
them?
lot of political subdivisions use them.
Okay,
They're one of the bigger ones.
okay.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to add on item A?
As far as, Tom talking to everybody about Ken Kimmel, the lawyer that's basically for ESD, I guess 2 and 3, one, anyway. The deal with him is, the deal with him is, and you probably concur, he said, everything's a contract. Wherever you do it, you got to have contracts. He said, everything that you talk about, discuss, from is going to be contract oriented. Interlocal agreements, he said they're okay, but they're not worth the paper they're written on. You've got to have a legit contract. He said from volunteer fire, from the fire department to the appraisal district to the tax office, all that, got to make sure we got those contracts with them and make sure that we can get started. That way we're that much more ahead. So.
Okay. No, I think, yeah, totally agree.
Everything's contract. You said, because you're trying to protect the public interest of the public.
Move to been going over the things we've all got, we caught one big thing there, we all got colds. ESD 5 brought them to us.
Thank you. Agenda, the itinerary of the conference.
We were just remarking that some of the courses were extremely interesting and valuable. We made a lot of contacts up there with people that will, I think, benefit us in the future. And the people, the place, I gotta tell you, the place was packed. They didn't anticipate that many people, and next year it's gonna be moved to the convention center in Fort Worth because they simply did not have enough room to house all of us. And there were chiefs and fire chiefs and EMS people and of course commissioners and a lot of attorneys that, you know, I don't know, very good stuff.
How many, I'm just reading, because I'm looking at the pamphlet here. How many hours of credit do you guys think y'all got for your?
8.
8.
You got 8?
We got it.
Have you all updated that?
Yep.
Yes.
Online?
Yes.
And we're gonna print out.
We got a
Right.
printout back, told us that we had submitted it, and they will be issuing it out from A&M
Awesome.
in the next couple of weeks, I think they said. I think if we had pushed it, we could have gotten credit for those morning sessions. I didn't know to put those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that 2-hour session in the morning we had each day counted, and they asked me to put the courses I went to, well, I put those down there, but I didn't think about the morning sessions, 2-hour morning sessions.
I think there's 6 mandatory classes, you know, to get your certificate, 6, and then the rest of them are elective.
Yeah.
So I think each of them's got one mandatory class. And next year, hopefully, you've got one, you'll be in Fort Worth next year, so
Yeah.
hopefully we complete it, and by that time, it'll be close to our 2 years where we can
And
possibly get certified.
they have a program to certify, to become a certified commissioner. And if you take the right courses, and I think it's
That's Caesar Marshall and Red.
2 years. Qualification got to be, ESD commissioner for 2 years.
And so that's a thing that I think we're all trying to attain.
Okay, that's.
As a matter of fact, if you look in there, there's a list of certified commissioners.
I saw it, yeah. I saw it back here. Like I say, and there's an application right here for it. I was just noting that y'all have that training requirement, and it seems like 4 commissioners now are well on their way to accomplishing that. Steve, of course, he'll get caught up. He's got 2
pick it up
years.
next year.
You got plenty of time. It's no biggie.
Yeah.
You got to go next year.
You just put, and they've got the date on there too. It's already set up for next year. Anyone else have anything that you'd like to bring up about?
As far as our website, my stepdaughter can't do it, because of other prior obligations, but we have Carla Blackstock, I talked to her today. She wrote over a legacy, she said she'd be willing to do it. So she started what we could do, you know, there was room that we could, you know, she's already got a label for us and all that. What I'd like to do is put it on the agenda for next month, so so see if that's be okay, that we'll go and, you know, take her on for the website, and we should explain a little bit more about what's going on and the price for our services.
They were pretty adamant about getting that website up and running. That was one of the first things.
And here's some things that are required to be on that website too.
Yeah.
So,
She was supposed to come tonight, just try to, you know, be here, you know, possibly maybe we, you know, she'd do a public comment or whatever, but she had prior engagements today, but she said get her on the agenda, which I told her we'd get her on the agenda for next month. but she said just get me on the agenda for next month and we'll discuss it.
Just discussion, possible action to retain a web developer for the district, got it.
They also told us that to satisfy the audit requirement, we need to send a letter by June 1st to the county commissioners, telling them that we are meeting, and he said it wasn't necessary to put any financial stuff in there because we don't have any money or any debt the first year. But he said he said we would probably, or should probably send a letter telling them we were up and meeting and what was going on.
Okay.
Send a letter
It's
to
due
who?
on June.
Yeah,
1st.
Just the county
Commissioner.
commissioners.
Okay, yeah.
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 It's-
And then next year, then we'd have to have it, an audit.
Full.
Or partial, because we'll only have, just be getting in money then anyway. So, and one of the other things they mentioned was make sure you start to get the auditor with the bookkeeper, get it, so that they know what the auditor's gonna expect them to have and how that's supposed to run, so it runs smoothly, we don't have a bunch of things that absent that we should have had and things like that.
Well, that's something that y'all can probably add on item D.
Right.
Because I believe that was your item, you requested me to put this item on,
Yes.
Steve?
On the,
Certified public accountants?
yeah,
Okay.
or we, you know,
Okay. Don't worry. Well, they probably can tell you, they probably can add a lot to that.
Ken Hampton?
Yeah, Ken Hampton. I approached Ken Hampton. If we set that meeting like we talked about, a special meeting or whatever, I'll have one of his representatives, Ida Mays, one of his secretaries, can come and talk to us. But Ken Hampton, CPA in Floresville, he's just to be our local CPA. And then Sherry has a card from the agency in San Antonio that does the audit. Because we have to have two CPAs.
Yeah, have one for audit purposes.
You have to have one to do your normal booking, and then you have to have another CPA that does the audit for the state of Texas.
And these folks, one of those people's gonna help you, guide you through your budget process.
Right,
Yeah,
Kind of the bookkeeper that's like me.
yeah,
Right.
Who's involved with y'all constantly.
Right.
Whereas your auditor is only reviewing
They
Right.
will,
and preparing for.
right,
They will-
right.
So Ken Hampton will be our auditor?
well, we gotta make that, I mean,
We
that's
Well, I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
I mean, saying hypothetically, we're gonna
hypothetically.
need two different, so we got one right now, that's
Right.
who we wanna talk to.
If we get him to come in, I couldn't get him tonight,
Yeah,
but, it's too early, but if we give him a couple weeks' notice, he can come, give a, public presentation, what he does, what he can do.
well, if we need one for the
If
state
it-
audit, we can.
If anybody knows, anybody else that would like to apply
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah.
certainly send them to us. Because, the one thing that they, in the, thing about procurements and they said, make sure in your professional that you went for the best. And, not to worry about the cost as much as going for the best. And I agree with that.
Professional services?
Professional
Yeah.
services.
Okay.
That, you didn't have to go out on bids specifically for that, but when you looked at them, you need to go for the best one, person who is most highly qualified, and then, go down your list based on qualifications and things like that.
I assume from the talk, the tone, that even though we're kind of talking about D out of turn, but B, C, and D are all really, they all piggyback on each other. I assume from the tone, you're gonna want an item that
Right.
interview, kind of
Yeah.
presentations on,
Receive presentations on, from CPAs on audit, and I guess that would be the correct way of saying it.
okay.
And then we'll select the best we have out of that.
Okay.
on to item B. I think we've talked about some of the things that they are encouraged us to get started with. The website, getting a banking affiliation. We don't necessarily have to put any money in the bank yet, but we need to have, choose a bank that has been willing to work with us and we want to work with, and that would help us in the future. And so I would like, next meeting to get some information back on that so we can set up some.
Well, I had talked to Ms. Sekula several weeks back,
Right.
but I will get some hard documentation on what their fees are, you know, where the balances are.
Right.
But, I mean, they do work with ESDs already, with one in particular, one of our local ESDs, so they are familiar with those operations. I've got a real good working relationship with them through my employer. I mean, I can call her right now if I needed to.
Right.
So, I do have that level of familiarity with her, so I think that would be beneficial to this ESD,
Certainly.
you know.
And another one that we noticed in there was Frost in San Antonio
Okay.
is very active with ESDs and have written
They had a booth at the convention,
a convention.
Okay.
and they also do government lending
Right.
too, so besides the government people, we could,
So that might be an area that we.
yeah.
What did y'all take in any kind of talk to anybody about government investment pooling and stuff like that?
Tax pool?
Tax pools,
Yes.
things
That's
like
what
that?
they just came out and said that that was what most people use.
Mhm.
And that they do the rules and how to operate, and we wouldn't have to worry about it if we did that.
It's highly recommended that, use your finances best you can for, you know, extra money and stuff. Invest it a lot.
Sure.
So that's highly recommended. I think one ESD, I think she started off as, had $3 million in pay, was making $1,000 a month. I mean, it don't seem much, but I mean, for us, that's a long way. We'll never see $3 million, but that's just an example what they did.
I wouldn't know why she had that much money in the bank, but that's all right. She hadn't had it invested.
Well, they got them ESDs in
Yeah.
Harris County and Tarrant
Oh, I know.
County, they got tons and tons of money.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of the rules written for them too, because there's an exception for Harris County and
Yes,
almost everything they read, there's an exception for Harris County.
that's all I heard, exception for her.
And that, the next thing is, now that doesn't apply to Harris County.
Yeah.
So they evidently got in the beginning of that. So if we can come up with that, I would like to put on the agenda next time to entertain proposals from.
I'll call Ken tomorrow. And whatever date we set, I'll see if he can make it, or if one of his representatives from the firm can make it.
Okay, that will go back to the CPA.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
No,
yeah.
that's okay. But this proposals, sir, what was yours regarding financials and banking?
To banking and financial institutions that we could work with.
And, Mr. Treasurer, that's something that you're gonna kinda, you're the assistant treasurer?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So
Yeah.
between us, but yeah, he's gonna look at the accountants,
Okay.
I'll look at the institution.
Mary, who you banking with now through the,
We use Wells Fargo.
so that's the, we'll need a couple, we'll need 2, 3, something.
Yeah, to pick from.
Maybe reach out to Frost and see if they'll send a
Yeah.
rep out.
I don't think that-
From a business standpoint, I bank with them.
I'll have to get with you. I'll get with
No,
Sharon.
check with Leroy Mitchell.
Okay.
He worked for Frost, he just retired after 40 years right here.
Wow.
He might continue to call.
Oh, yeah.
And just local interest as well.
Yeah. And check with the local banks. And we won't be.
You got the banks?
Frost Wells.
Yeah. We got the banks and I'll do the CPA.
Okay.
I mean, Sherry's got that card from the CPA for the auditor. Right now, we just need a local CPA to get started. We got a year before we get the audit.
But we need to make sure that that CPA is following the guidelines that auditor is gonna need.
Right.
And so we need to kind of get them.
Yeah,
The first thing you're gonna need this numbers guy for is your budget.
yeah.
Budgets, assisting with the tax rate. kind of
And
thing.
setting up the budgets where they make sense year after year.
Mhm.
I notice there's a lot of different formats that people have used. 2 and 3s aren't necessarily the same, they have different things in there. And if you look at across the state, there are a lot of different, different parts to that budget. And one of the things he told us, any excess funds that we're holding over, and we need to have, he said, you need to have a reserve. He said, but include that in your M&O and stuff like that, make sure your auditor understands that. Your cookie. Okay, discussion and possible action, and I think I've delved into item C here already. With the discussion of setting up some appointments for people things to look into and gather information on. So we've got the financial thing put together. I would also, Buck, you're handling the IT end of it, the technical, the stuff like that.
Website and,
And Steve, one of the things that one of the units was having problems with was their sheriff's department was, their dispatching thing. They need to make sure that we're on the right. Of course, we're doing it now.
Well, okay, what's gonna happen there is,
I'm waiting for that.
we are currently, this year, going to be upgrading our system, the whole sheriff's office, our CAD, our jail, and our patrol. We're even going mobile with Spillman Motorola. It's their Flex. So we are gonna have capabilities such as, Mary, y'all use Zoll reporting or anything? That Zoll software?
Just have a Zoll monitor to do the Zoll reporting.
Okay, well, we'll have an interface for that. So in the discussions we had last week with Motorola as we prepared to transition, which is gonna take us roughly a year. So we'll be online live this time next year. But it has interfaces for fire and EMS. So be able to use information from the sheriff's office system and receive information through our CAD. It's something that ESD4, as a board, we're gonna have to look into. And so what I'm seeing is us integrating with them. And really, it's, the way Spillman is, you can have as many users as you want. It's basically the sheriff's office allowing you on board. So, and at this point, I don't see why there would be any issue, but of course, this is a year down the road, so they could be receiving the calls over the data terminal and all that. Of course, ESD would have to buy one, they're about $4,000. And, I see good things.
You know about the data terminal, like an MDT that goes in?
It's an MDT, yeah, the ones we're gonna be using is the CF20, Panasonic Tucker,
$4,000 per?
roughly, just spitballing but you could get a slimmed down version, but that's what we're looking at with the sheriff's office.
Well, I'd rather we need to get with you guys and make sure that we're headed the right direction with that stuff when we make the right moves.
Well, I'm the project manager at
What
the
are-
sheriff's office for it,
That's
so,
what you were talking about the other day, and I'm thinking, they're changing. And the one you said that, I've forgotten who it was, said their county was changing, going to a trunk system or something like that, and it was giving them all sorts of trouble.
yeah, but no, this is our report management system. We'll be able to do a lot of things out in the field, and it'll benefit other agencies, fire and EMS as well. You know, currently, like Active 911 is being used. Mary, are y'all on Active
Yes,
911?
yes, we are.
Well, we're looking at that interface with Spillman, so it'll port information over to Active 911. So, I mean, a lot of things we're doing at the sheriff's office, you know, that are gonna benefit ESD 4, 3, 2, 5, 1.
How many of the other ESDs participated in any of this?
Right now, no, but when the original grant was written, I think 3 was on board with this. So down the road, as we start progressing, especially when we get into our CAD section and set up, you know, we'll definitely be talking with the ESDs.
Well, I think we got representation on that, so we're in good shape.
Yeah, I think so.
Just keep your eye on it. And
Is this Spillman basically radio and laptop type?
It's nothing to do with the radios, like handhelds. What it is, it's computer-aided dispatch, but it's everything, because it connects our jail, our dispatch, and our reports. So we can receive the calls over the terminals. It has mapping. I see where all the units are at, you know, depending on what level of
Okay.
security you have. Be able to see ambulances, fire apparatus, if they're tied into the system.
So it's basically like a fixed terminal type deal?
They'll have them, we'll have them in our patrol units,
Correct.
and if we log in to a computer at work,
Yeah, okay,
have it.
that's what.
sounds good. Okay, so that takes care of that problem. And I think the next thing we need to do, that I'm concerned about, when you talked about contracts, I think we need to start, Tom, I'd like for you to start talking with the municipalities.
The main one's gonna be, of course, well, the main
Right.
two's gonna be both in Floresville.
And housing areas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna need to kind of tie that down for too long, I think.
No, I agree. I real
That's
quickly.
a-
and
Do we know
start
when
speaking with-
ESD 5's meeting's next?
It
I
is.
didn't get that asked. I forget.
I can tell you exactly when it is, sir. It's gonna be on the 10th, March 10th.
Okay.
They meet on the second Tuesday, and they'll meet on the 4th, right?
Fourth Tuesday, yes, sir.
You're,
Would it be appropriate for us to send a representative every once in a while to those meetings, to keep track of what they're doing?
you're their attorney also,
I am.
yeah.
I am, I've already been advised by them to start discussing the city of Floresville and that fire station situation. And it ties into the ambulance service as well.
So,
So I'm gonna be doing, kind of wearing 2 hats here. It makes sense, I'm gonna be discussing both of my clients' interests. And I wanted y'all to make sure that that's what y'all want me to do.
I would like to see Tom go ahead and start handling that. And
You wanna make a motion to that?
I would think a motion would be appropriate for him to give him the go-ahead to start negotiating.
I'll make a motion that Tom negotiates with the city of Floresville and the city of Poth on our behalf, along with ESD 5.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, then, we'll have our attorney enter into those discussions.
Make it happen. And start talking to Mary as well.
Right.
Who's, if y'all don't mind me asking, who's been doing most of the talking with Mary? I know Mary, you guys have all been working together. I mean, we've got, do we have?
With the city, who?
No, do we have a board point of contact who's kind of?
No, we haven't got, that
No,
was the
I-
next part I was gonna bring up. In this thing, I would also like for Tom to handle, since it's eventually going to come into a contract situation, I would like for Tom to go ahead and start making headway with the volunteer ambulance association to see if, you know, and not closing any other doors or anything like that, but we need to, I'd like to see that, let's start moving in that direction.
Mhm.
And you can
They need to, I mean, Mary will keep them advised what we're doing, she pretty much knows what we're doing, but we need to make sure that that's documented, and I certainly don't want to upset any apple carts there. Do I have a motion for that?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll say.
Buck seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor of having our attorney connect with the Volunteer Ambulance Association? Say aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries, and you are authorized to do that.
Thank you, sir. Definitely will.
He has my number.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get together. I know we've been talking about it.
Because, you know, with our research that we've done on our growth and potential growth in the city and where we're at and everything, we started now with ESD 5 and got a, you know, point of contact going both ways. Then we can kind of maybe commingle and plan ahead and get some things.
Commissioner Oceandeer from ESD 5 has called me a couple of times to discuss things.
I think the Commission's Court appointed Ryan Bicker to be
They did. They appointed a new member, Ryan Bippert, because one of them, the original members had resigned. He wasn't a good fit. I haven't met with him since that happened, though.
I just found out that.
But I want to ask you a question. What is City of Poe, I've heard some things about, City of Poe is very interested in discussing possible coverage here and possibly having a unit here.
We had a city council meeting last night. Of course, you know, I'm the last one to stand up and I do my spill, but I did a public comment stating that what we did at Galveston and everything, you know, that was very informative and stuff. And I just kind of told them that, you know, Poth is probably pretty much in play to help out with the ESD4. And it was very receptive of it last night. We still have our original plan to build a ambulance barn / fire service. We tried to do that. We was trying to get ahead. We tried to get ahead of the game when the hospital was trying to do their ambulance service. So we had a bunch of people would donate time, material, stuff, and we was going to build a building right next to the fire department. And we got architectural plans. We did the plans and everything. They're still pretty much in play. They're willing to help out on anything we got within the guidelines what we for the state of Texas.
I have a lot, and I don't mean to take over y'all's meeting, but I have a few questions about it because that is the one thing, like what y'all do here in Poe, you will not be doing that with ESD5 because ESD5 doesn't
Right.
have this.
But
So what is, do they have an actual, do they have a volunteer fire service, but is it kind of like Floresville's to where they're, if someone calls 911, calls County 911, they're gonna tone those guys out.
You'll have to
Yeah.
tone them out, and then this area, whatever their area is here, goes from 427 back that way to back toward Fall City
Yeah.
and to the Cibolo, borders with Cibolo over here, and right to the river, Santone River, the rest of it's Three Oaks.
Do they have folks at their station at all times?
No,
No.
it's all
They don't.
volunteer.
It's all volunteer.
Strictly volunteer, well, even,
Well,
It's
Ford's
such
the
as
same
Three
way,
Oaks.
they do have people there on size told.
And your Three Oaks is more grass fire, rural suppression, not necessarily capabilities for structure.
Do they own that facility, or is that Poth owns the fire
The
station?
city owns the.
Okay.
And Three Oaks has their own.
And see, there's something where, since that part is separate from ESD 5, is where maybe we could enter an agreement with the city of Poth, to where if they built this building, maybe even to the standards that Animal Association wanted, with living quarters or whatever else thing, we could rent it from them and put a unit down here part-time.
is that something that they're kinda thinking about? I mean,
Well,
renting
I
it
don't-
from them, or do they want
They,
us, they
well,
want our
I
service?
mean, we just, I'm trying to keep everybody on board what we want to do. We really ain't got into depth about who's paying for what and who's doing what. But they're very receptive of what we're doing, and they really, they know we need ambulance service down here, and they want to be, naturally they're a part of
What
it.
municipality wouldn't want an
Yeah.
ambulance station in their city?
I mean, we know the growth of Floresville's north, we know that. But we can't do away with the system down here, they're getting taxed down here too. So we gotta look
It's
at,
very important that we. One of the things that one of the attorneys brought up, that we might talk to the commissioners about, he said, when you plot all these undeveloped places for subdivisions and things like that, he said, go to them and say, will you, as one of the criteria, will you donate a parcel of land that could be used by an ESD? And he said it's an attractive thing because people are, like having an EMS station and a fire station right there in their backyard.
even like, economic development corporations, they have land. If they have parcels of land, in different places in the county,
Yeah. And he mentioned that, and I thought, that's not a bad idea. If you have somebody's building a subdivision in your area or something like that, that you think that would be a possible location later, ask them if they would section off a little piece.
I can't speak for the commissioners, but I can tell you that they are all thinking similar lines. That, these developers that wanna come in the county areas that are covered by ESDs, they're thinking, because they discussed it
Okay.
of, we have, that is served by X and Y area, so, what are you willing to do?
Right.
So it is something that I can see
And
potentially.
they said most of them have been very cooperative with it because, that's something that people want. And,
But it's like we discussed the city with the ambulance bay with the volunteer fire department. You know as well as I do, this volunteer fire department's not gonna be here forever. It's either gonna have to create another ESD or it's gonna be incorporated with ESD 5.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
We don't know. But what I'm saying is that they're receptive, that they're going to do the two together. Naturally, either we give it to us, lease it or whatever, that part. But the other part is, it's still going to be in play. We're still volunteer or to be incorporated a couple years down the road or several years down the road.
would it be feasible in any way or possible in a way that they might incorporate the post fire and whatever, might incorporate one day in the four?
For fire, four's never gonna be in the fire business, sir.
Okay.
Four's EMS only. Five's in the fire business. For four to go in the fire business, four would have to basically have a new election.
We have basically two fire departments we have to work with currently, ESD 5 and Pope Fire, and Three Oaks, what I potentially see is, down here south of Floresville, and then you're gonna have to have a secondary location north of Floresville, because that's where a large portion of our population is. You know, whether it's one truck here, two trucks up there, you know, however the case may be.
Well, there's a discussion at the meeting in Galveston too about, you have to look at the environmental too, of where you're dealing with ESDs and stuff. I mean, rivers and stuff like that. I think we brought up a point that Bill and I discussed was, in our looking later on, we know that there's gonna be some growth on the other side of the river, out 1103 and up that way, and northwest part of the county, to where we need to start looking too, if we wanna put a fire station, or not we, but if we went in with ESD 5, to put a rural location out that way too. And the idea that, you know, flood comes and takes a river, takes out, you can't respond to that part of the county.
We had and I think I mentioned this to Jim.
Wasn't that strategic planning conference, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had I used to be I think I was probably the first emergency management coordinator. And we used to do exercises with DPS they would come down and put on these different things. We do tabletop with the sheriff's department and all the local entities, even the school district. And one of the systems they gave us was that at that time we had the railroad track. And the train that caught on fire went all the way from 97 all the way past Goliad down there the street. And we couldn't get an ambulance over there. We had the emergency going on and this, that, and the other. And we had no coverage on that side of the river. So I think where we put that is a strategic point where we can make sure that we can deal with natural barriers and things like that that come up. And I think we need to consider that when we look at where we put units and things like that. Because in that particular scenario, what they had was a chlorine gas explosion on a train. And then next thing that they put to it, you think you got that solved, well we can manage that, then they put a helicopter coming down, a news helicopter spreading the gas, you know, if it's prop wash. And then you have people being sick on both sides of the track and we couldn't get anybody there.
One of the good news is these days.
So anyway, of course, then a lot of that's probably be cured by air life and some of those, but not dealing with work with that. We didn't have those at that time. So that's what I think we need to take into consideration.
Let me ask you this, gentlemen, because I wasn't there. I'm curious, because there's a lot of questions that I have about how we could partner with 5. Did y'all discuss this at the conference about kind of, commingling is not what we can do, because we can't go into business ventures with them. We have to own our stuff, they have to own theirs. But, did y'all hear anything on how places are doing this, where EMS ESDs and fire ESDs are working together? Because I'm curious.
Mary, did you?
Just what's going on right now locally. District 3 is housing intimidated units with District 1. So they're to contract with them to rent a space from them, a lease or whatever they call it. So that's what they're doing now. They're in the process of doing that because District 1 has several stations now. And since District 3 took over Lavernia, they want their units around that area as well. So when the stations were built and they have the space there, District 3 is contracting with 1 to house a unit there. And how they did it is their fire is also first responders, so they assist them on calls. And I don't see our department doing that anytime soon. So
I did see some units up there that had EMS with a rescue unit.
Yes.
And having, you know, like Jaws of Life and
Right.
rescue unit, maybe even a water rescue and a vertical rescue unit attached to the EMS system. So I don't know.
So that's how District 3 is doing it. is contracting with District 1 on space, like a rent.
So you're saying we couldn't go build a building together?
Now, the way 1 and 3 are doing is what I'm familiar with local.
Yes.
I was more curious about what you may have heard at your conference about how they do it, but theoretically, sir, anything that you purchase capital-wise with ESD $4
Yeah.
has to belong to ESD 4 and has to be capable of, being, ESD 4 making its claim.
Right.
If you went into, basically built a partnership to build a fire station where you own the building, they finance the property, you finance the building, well, you can't really,
No.
you can't partition that. And it was bought with tax dollars, so you can't do that. You do it by like 1 and 3 are doing, by contracts. And
Build
those
a building.
contracts don't necessarily have
Build a
to
building and then rent them a spot or,
lease, it can be
Yeah.
some
And
type
usually
of.
it's the other way around, because they have more equipment. They have
Sure.
several-
Yeah.
It'll be the other way around. They will build their station, and we will go and ask for a space. Because we have one EMS unit, they have, all these other vehicles,
yeah.
fire trucks, pumpers, apparatus, and all the other stuff they have, where we just have one unit.
But we run more calls than they do.
True, they do, we are
And
slower
that
fast.
was one of the things they brought up at,
Yes.
at that meeting about the fire stations, Bill, that EMS, while the fire department has larger equipment and more expensive equipment, EMS would double or maybe even triple the number of runs that they make.
Yeah.
And so you may have 2 EMS units there to cover, the area, and probably more personnel, EMS personnel there than you would fire department personnel.
And your trade-out time on your equipment is
Right.
markedly faster than an EMS will work.
Right.
Your ambulances don't, them fire trucks, they can last 10 years, whereas your
They
ambulances,
can
you
last
might,
28 years.
they can
according
last a
to-
long
that
Yeah,
was-
and then 29th year
Yeah, the
dead.
29th year, that they
We
made
saw
that point. That you can't get help on a 27-year-old fire truck, but you can on a 28-year-old. And if it's over that, you.
It's done.
It's
well,
done.
they have a lot longer usage life than an ambulance does, than the equipment on an ambulance, because it gets used so much. So the cost, is I think what I know about the fire services is always gonna be more expensive than the EMS service, but the EMS service is still very expensive itself. And
Cause see, if we leased, we talked about that, if we leased space, then we could man something
Right.
almost full-time,
Yeah.
Right.
cost-wise.
Well, I think you guys have more options than 5 does. Let's
Yeah.
just put it that way.
Yeah.
I agree with Mary. The
Yeah.
EMS bunch is always gonna have more options. They have a little bit more money,
Yeah.
a lot more call volume, but they also,
We generate.
But,
you're smaller,
and we'll still be able to collect money out of the EMS where the
Sure.
fire usually doesn't.
But and yes, you can
And
collect
they-
and you're a smaller footprint than a fire service.
Yes.
Because a bay with, a single wide trailer could serve as a EMS station.
Yeah,
You guys will be able to put more satellite units in play than I think ESD 5 will. But you're also gonna be having to where you're gonna be on your own out here. Well, we have Poth Fire that we can work with. I think partnerships with all of these agencies is a great idea for 4.
would it behoove us, like, next city council meeting, opposed to, one of the commissioners, Buck could probably do it for us, and actually says, hey, we discussed this, we're moving forward, we'd like to see what we could do with the city of Poth and get a contract going that way to where,
Well, I can talk to the mayor one-on-one
Yeah.
and see where we go, because,
Yeah.
she's running unopposed, so she's got the rest of this year, and she's already, so they didn't sign the paperwork for her to continue being the mayor for the next 2 years after the deal, but.
I think that's all well and good, but I'd like to see us get our feet on the ground before we get any
Yeah.
entanglements.
Yeah.
In other words, get our system up and running where we're solid and we feel like we've got a solid base, and then jump maybe into some of these others as we get there.
All right.
And a POF is certainly high on my priority list.
Well, I did tell her last night, I told the council last night, that, you know, we have no money.
Yeah.
There's nothing, so we're still a year, or possibly 2 years away, even more. So, you know, that's,
Yeah, I wouldn't want them to think we're gonna come down here tomorrow and build
No, I don't,
It's
no,
just-
and I'm just saying, you know, I don't wanna lose that.
a.
keep open
Put
dialogue.
the
Yeah.
feelers out, keep,
And keep them, I think it's important that we keep all the councils and the commissioners advised of where we are and what we're doing.
And I
And on
did,
that, Henrietta Turner was supposed to be here for the city, and she texted me earlier and said she didn't want to make it. She was gonna come to attend tonight. So,
I did tell the council that I'm keeping up to speed with what we do
Yeah.
and what's going on. So they were very appreciative of that. So
Sure. Because that does bring up a good point. If we could put our system, you know, like, let's say that ESD 5 says they want to put a station here. And we say, if you build it, you know, we'll lease space from it. Then maybe they want to build 2 or something like that. Or we, you know, when we talked to the city of Floresville about redoing that one down there and releasing that, but they take, you know, like the one, deal we went to, they talked about how, you know, you tell the city what you want
yeah.
and get them to redo it, and you release it back from them. You know, basically what this guy said is you can understand, you guys own it now. And you tell the city, you know, hey, if you want us here, we want to be here, but, you know, here's the building and this is what we want to do. And, cause see,
And he made the point, he really did, he emphasized the point that you were kind of in control in that negotiation, and
I don't
any
disagree
repairs
with that.
any repairs that need to be done, anything that is broken that needs to be fixed, whatever, that's the leaseor's problem. And in other words, we're not gonna be sitting out there being carpenters on our own building.
basically, I mean, the hypothetical, you know, what's Floresville's intention with the EMS barn and fire barn?
yeah,
Fire service, and basically the same thing said, well, if you gotta pay them a lease, well, they own it. And the only thing you do is pay them a lease to use the building, they're accountable and responsible for everything else. Whereas sewer, water, air conditioning, the carpentry work, adding two rooms to it or whatever, you know, quarters and all that stuff, they're the ones doing it. If they wanna go back, so, I mean, that's just the whole thing, we don't know what Floresville wants to do.
I think as far as I know, with our building, we own the building and the city owns the property. That's how I was
I
understood.
don't know if you can do that, can you?
That's the thing, how do you do that?
I don't
You
know.
know?
That's what I was told like many years ago.
I know, I'm pretty sure that the volunteers built the building,
Yes.
paid for the building.
I can work with that. I can work with that, something that works good.
I've been
for
trying to
y'all.
look for paperwork on it.
well, you know what, like, what I like to see is you have your building, your training facilities, and everything there. So keep that, redo it a little bit, but keep it. And that way, when we move out to our satellite places, we don't have to build a whole training facility again. We don't have to build this, all we need is,
Sleeping quarters.
yeah,
So we're
good sleeping quarters, a kitchen, good shower, bath, facilities like that, and everything, and then a bed.
But is that, there again, is that under the city property, but is that still two separate entities, the EMS barn and the fire department?
Well, like I said, like when it comes to that, it'll be a lease in our part for EMS, because we only have the one vehicle.
Yeah,
So we'd be leasing.
Barn was built on the fire department property, well, it's city property, but fire department was there first, correct?
The fire
Just a
department,
little bit, I
yeah.
don't know.
yeah.
Fire side, as I understood that everything is city. As far as I understood on fire side.
All right,
And don't quote me on that, that's what I heard.
I
don't
know
know
we
about
built that building was not the original building that was built. The first one was a deal, it was one Quonset hut with an ambulance in the front and an ambulance in the back.
Oh, wow. I was waiting
And
for
that's,
my
that's
side.
what we had to work with when I first started. You just had one bay, and that was it. And, so, then we built the new building.
Still got a lot of fact finding that we gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
And I
find-
think we need to get time involved in that, because,
The thing that I find to be the biggest, largest focus right now is the situation right there in Forestville. It's affecting the ambulance service and it's affecting the fire department. That's what I'm more curious about than what's going on in both. It sounds like we have a receptive municipality out here, which is great. And I think we do as well in Forestville, but I want to do it at zero cost.
Most bang for our buck.
The district.
and when are we going to get a map showing exactly what our boundaries are?
I have a map.
Yeah, we have maps.
We had to have maps done when we did the election.
Well, I was told that.
Leanne Hosher was supposed
But
to.
there is that one section,
Section up
that
there.
one section that the ambulance,
Right.
the EMS section that has to be added
Right,
to the
and,
official tax revenue.
okay,
maps.
so the map that I was given through Intrepid, when we did our meets and bounds with them, when we had all this started going on, they went and added that new section,
Mhm.
the 30.
Is that on 1303 west, 1303?
It's a piece of land that follows it.
It's 1303 all the way to 1604. And then when you go 536, you get on 2579, our cutoff is like right before 120. Well, all the way down now to 1303. 2579 connects to 1303.
Leanne
That
Hosher
also-
office is supposed to be getting those maps.
Well, the key for us is
Can you
to
look
make
at
sure
that?
that that the appraisal district is tracking those areas. The appraisal district has finally received from the county,
Fine.
I confirmed it, they finally received from the county, the documentation they needed to start programming the taxing area for the ESDs, both ESDs. I need to confirm because that's the one thing I don't know. I know the area that the people voted on, but then there's that one area on 1303. I need to make sure that is part of it as well.
Sacramento's in north?
Yes, all the way down, all the way to the, I was told to hit 1604.
From looking at the map that was that we had,
Uh-huh.
it looked like it was from Sacramento's right there in the corner
Right.
between 775 and 1303. And it's right straight on up 1303 to 1604,
Yes, sir.
and everything west.
To the county line, yeah.
Anything past the river.
But this year, y'all aren't providing service there, right? Two is
No.
doing it.
2 is doing it because they got paid for it already.
They're being paid for it, but next year, effective January
Right.
1, this ESD, not the volunteer ambulance service, this ESD is responsible for providing services to that. So we'll have it in place by then,
Yeah.
but that's how that'll be. Because that's part of the ESD, and it isn't really a part of their original run area.
Yeah.
That
Right.
was,
Y'all never made calls there before.
we don't unless we're needed for,
Unless-
unless we're assisting a mutual aid, but other than that, no.
Well, see, everything south of that on 1303 is in the floodplain anyway, I
Mm-hmm.
think. It's that low area right there along the river.
Yeah, because we had one of our town hall meetings within that area, people were asking questions like, responses and stuff like that. That was the line we talked about.
I don't think they can build much along that area.
There's a fire department there. Well,
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
I wouldn't house anything there, but there's a fire department.
It's up on that hill across from Sacramento.
I would not.
Huh? No, it's not a viable
That's
option.
what I'm saying, I wouldn't have nobody stay there, there to stay.
That structure would have to be raised and
It's not,
a new one,
yeah.
and there'd have to be considerable security
Yeah.
adjustments.
There's 2 bars around here, so I don't know.
Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be?
Were you gonna look at a special meeting?
I am going to look at one, I would like to look at one in 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a statement about that in that, I think we need to meet more often. I think we lose momentum in between meetings. And I think we need to, it occurs to me that we're coming up on we're gonna have a deadline here for too long.
You have several deadlines.
And we're
Summer, just think of
right.
the summer's full of deadlines.
And I think we need to, I was noticing in here
Because July is when the tax,
I don't know if you got that or not.
I did, I thought I sent it out to y'all.
You probably, I got it from somewhere. And there are all sorts of deadlines, and we need to start meeting those deadlines. Regardless of what anybody else does, we need to meet our deadlines.
Well, there's 5 Tuesdays in March, so that'll be the 31st, so you'll have to definitely hold one or two.
Yeah, I would like to, and Jim, one thing I need.
Your
is
meeting
your
would not be on the
Friday
24th.
Yeah, I gotta read.
It's the 4th.
Oh, of course,
We
I'm
can set
sorry.
that tonight.
schedule. Okay.
So you're the meeting, the monthly meeting's the 24th.
I figured our ESD, our monthly meeting's already gonna be on the 24th down at the bottom. Anywhere there's not a blue line there, we can have it.
Okay.
Now, the 10th, Tom's already tied up with ESD 5 on the 10th.
I know.
But we can meet that Monday or the Wednesday, we can meet the 9th, or we can meet the 11th. Or the 12th.
Anywhere in there would be fine with me.
That's good
Does
for you.
anybody have any,
Yeah, for
maybe
you.
the 9th?
Monday the 9th? You got,
That's the 13th or 14th.
no, city council I'm talking about.
The city council's on the 16th.
Okay,
Yeah, the 9th, March 9th is okay with me.
okay.
Well, let's look at March 9th.
All right, March 9th it is.
That's my feeling about it.
Yeah.
I don't wanna lose the momentum we've got. We can get some information gathered by that time and get back and start moving. Because I think the 1st of January of next year is gonna be here before we know it, and we've got to be prepared for it.
You wanna shoot for a presentation, get, presentation on,
Right.
on the 9th.
On the 9th.
All right,
We can possibly do that.
all right.
Special meeting on the 9th with these agenda items that y'all
With those
instructed.
agenda items that
All
we
right.
gave you.
March 9th, I will have some of the answers on what y'all given me to do, because I have.
I'll get the Hampton group to have somebody from the Hampton group here,
Okay.
and, hopefully we can have the website, hopefully we'll have a bank.
Yeah, I'll reach out to those, see what they can send me and provide
I
that.
thought it was in here, it had the stuff that had to be on the website.
It's in there,
That one page, there's one page.
and it's also in the handbook.
You also go online and get some of the presentations.
Huh?
The presentations that were at the conference.
Yeah.
We go online and get them.
Yeah, I got some this morning.
Yeah, they're
They're
PowerPoints
all
are,
right.
Yeah.
The PowerPoint's on there.
right.
I do know, I talked to somebody, when it comes to tax rates later on, you know how they had that non-new revenue tax, whatever else. I guess when we pay the appraisal district to do the stuff, years on down the road, you and I are worried about having to do calculus, we don't have to worry about that. The appraisal district will give you the non-new rate that you can use. We set for an hour, and this is guy, I'm serious. And I've taken 4 semesters of calculus, and this guy had some great stuff, and it was blowing my mind on how to figure these tax rates. There's the website stuff if you want this.
I got it.
All right,
It was,
yeah, it was unbelievable.
it really was.
I don't know, 2 or 3 when it comes to taxes, it's way over my head.
Yeah.
What have y'all, I'm liking the energy, talking about retaining folks and making websites. What did y'all learn about how you're gonna pay for this year? Or is that something that Steve's gonna bring?
We're
back
gonna have to,
us?
we're gonna need to talk to, because we're gonna have to pay for several things here. And, we're gonna have to
Get a loan.
get a loan from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, they ought to include in that law when you form a new tax, they give you money to run on.
Well, you have the money, it's just something you gotta factor in that,
Right.
you wanna keep, I think things will be low this year. I don't see a lot of this costing too terribly much.
Attorney's fees are gonna kill us.
Yeah,
I haven't even been keeping track of them.
I just had to get that dig in there.
I know.
The biggest thing on private banks, what they stressed is everything is a yearly loan, where you borrow it, it's 10 year, you know, you've got a 10-year note, it's renewed
It's
every year.
every year.
So you don't
It's a
incur
1-year
any
note, you do
interest.
10
Yeah.
years.
He said that was a big thing, make sure you do that, otherwise you're losing money. I mean, I don't know if Fall City works that way, that's something.
I'll get that information.
I know the ESD 2 building down there is $104,000 a year, is what it's costing.
104 a year?
104,000 a year. They borrowed 1.5 million from government thing at 20 years, at 3.37.
That's probably pretty nice.
104,000 a year.
Well, we gotta get service. I'd much rather have a lot of ambulances.
Well, and that's the thing, that's the thing we discussed and we looked at, and I know Mary talked about, and everything else thing is, I call it the Taj Mahal. Now, they say, no, and Mary, I tell you, I think, when we were walking around there, you saw some beautiful buildings, and Buck and I talked about this, you saw some gorgeous buildings, and you're like, okay, is this where we want to use taxpayer dollars? Or do we want to have a good EMS with good equipment in a decent building and not a Taj Mahal? And then, you know, the citizens going, I'm getting taxed at this, and
This is the level of care I'm getting.
exactly.
Well,
And people are not gonna complain in the building you came out of, they're gonna what they're
Gonna
gonna,
show up.
they're gonna
Right.
make sure that you're there when they need you.
Is the ambulance gonna make it down the driveway
Is it gonna be
Right.
right?
without backfiring?
Right.
I mean, you know,
what I got out of it with the big ISDs, like, again, you got Barricade and all that, is that, you know, they did 10 cents, you know,
Yeah.
raised up, come down, went to the sales tax. But, you know, they bought everything they needed, and they still had money they had to give, they still had to spend. I mean, they can't hold on to it. So that's where your Taj Mahals come in, they're just throwing money at something to, you know, get rid of some of this
Yeah.
money. Which, you know, is it the right thing? But, you know, it's like everything else. If you government, you know, you spend all your damn money before you, otherwise they take it away from you.
And Tom, one thing
Just
I'd
do
like
one
for you to
thing.
put on for next time, a mission statement.
Yeah.
We talked about that, and I
Adopt a mission statement.
adopt a mission statement.
Okay.
They harped on that, that was very important.
That's gotta be on their website.
It's gotta be on the website.
Is this something that the board is gonna bring?
Yeah.
We will, I will have one, a proposal. Anybody else wants to bring one, you can.
That's awesome, because I didn't wanna do that.
Well, I will, offer one, and, but I think it's important that we keep that mission statement in mind. Anytime we make a decision, is it compatible with our mission statement?
Agree with that.
And, so, anyway. Well, then if no one has any other business that's on the agenda, we'll have a meeting then on the 9th, I think we said.
Yes, sir. The
Special
9th,
meeting?
I'll get the agenda out before then with all this. I'll also send out my, requests for anything additional to it.
And, one thing I would ask, I know we always have a million of questions to ask Mary. We have a million questions, but let's try to focus it from one person so that she's not flooded with 15 people come running to her about, and wanting the same type of information. I would hate to do that to her.
No, I haven't heard from you yet.
no, you're not going to.
Okay.
You're not talking to Mary,
You
other
don't
than
talk to
saying
me.
hi.
Okay.
One thing that I wanted to ask is kind of procedural. Is the board interested in, I know y'all set y'all's meeting times at 7. Most of the other boards, city councils that meet in the county all meet at 6. Is that something y'all might, it gives you an additional hour so you're not working, if you have a long meeting, you're gonna get in at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, starting at 7. So I don't know if that's something, it's not on the agenda here, it's just something that I could add to an agenda if y'all wanted to have that discussion.
I'm open to it.
We can have,
I live here, so.
we can have the discussion. I'm not partial either way.
It doesn't
We can
matter.
move next one to 6.
Well, you've already voted as a board to have your
Yeah,
meetings
at
at 7, so the board now would have to vote to do it, change, but it's not on
We'll
this
wait until
agenda.
Sherry gets here and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just-
Sherry gets back and we get all 5 of us.
If it's a problem, it's a problem, it doesn't matter. It might be a problem for Sherry, because she's coming from San Antonio. Doesn't matter, I just,
Well, we can make it convenient and
Yeah.
get Mr. Rips back home earlier in the evening.
so maybe put that item on as well.
Put that item on there. As you can see now, our agendas are gonna start growing. And
Yeah.
as we get into this, I can see us having monthly meetings. But I do think it's important that we meet more often and keep our momentum up and don't let things drag in the middle. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
All those opposed?